2026?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest priorities that I got out of reInvent and some of these other conversations we had in that little 2 weeks that seemed like 2 months heading into the holiday was, it's aligned with the challenge of fragmentation in the sense that, partner marketers do a lot of activities. They do events, they run webinars, they run lead gen, white paper content syndication, producing content, and they can do all that with just one partner on a quarterly basis. And then you multiply that by 3, 6, 12 partners, right?
Sure.
And you just have these siloed activities across the board. So obviously that's a challenge from a successful scale standpoint because, it's not always an apples to apples conversation in terms of how you're running programs, how you're executing. And so a lot of them, what I've seen is there's agency bloat. They're working with a ton of expert agencies in these little areas. Siloed activities means the data is siloed and they're constantly having to reinvent the wheel. Every quarter it's, okay, new webinar, new partner, new initiative, new target. I got to reinvent this and build this from the ground up. So, aligned with that priority is, how do we think about a more system-led approach to scaling activities? How do I build motions where I can reuse the motion each time? And, but still be flexible with, let's face it, partners have individual messaging, unique targets. You look at different regions, how they go to market in Germany is completely different than Singapore. Right. And so, but that doesn't mean the motion has to reinvent itself each
Right.
time. And so I think, you and I, these are a lot of the conversations we've been leading with partner marketers is how do we create a structured architectural framework where the motion is consistent, but it flexes with partner, region, target, initiative, fill in the variable.
Fill in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big priority, I think, for partner marketers is figuring out how to create those reusable motions that scale. As a little advertisement for what we've been doing, we built our own partner ecosystem. So we have best of breed content providers, best of breed lead gen providers, LinkedIn, you just fill in the blank. And so we can help architect those solutions, find that perfect partner to come in to execute, but in an integrated way. And I think just to kind of cap this off from a priority standpoint, something that we've seen as a best practice, what partner marketers are doing, kind of this dual motion where they'll have an always on motion, a quarterly lead generation. Let's just put it like that, content syndication. We set up the framework, content can be part of that, but it's kind of an always on motion that can flex with partner and region. And then the other motion is more of an event driven motion. Okay, we have a big event coming up, right? Well, how are we connecting that with our digital activities? We have a big webinar coming up, whatever that moment of time is, what is that reusable motion that's aligned to those moments of time where we can just, again, take that variable, whatever that moment in time is, plug it into our reusable motion framework, and then execute against it.
For sure. No, and I think, we've been having the conversations internally and externally with our customers. So what I'm hearing you say and what we've been kind of communicating to our customers is having that balance or that motion of architecture and orchestration,
Yeah.
right? Because I think it really depends on the partnership that you're looking at, whether that is a alliance or strategic partnership or a scale or a channel partnership, right? All because those are the nuances there. They're much different and complexities are much different in each one of those. So when you're looking at strategic and alliance partnerships and they're coming out of these tentpole or building up to a tentpole event, it's not, maybe it's theirs, call it the AWS reInvent, but a lot of those marketers are now moving into the next quarter and their partnerships are, flowing into their event. So moving from a reInvent into a next, into a knowledge with ServiceNow, you name the event. It's how do you connect those dots? Where's the connective tissue that's connecting everything between each one of these events and sticking with the architecture of the plan that you built in co-partnership.
I love how you talk about the nuance because I think honestly, that's why we built this business, right? Is because there's so much nuance and complexity in it. And to your point, how we build a motion for AWS plus, particular ISV plus fill in the distributor. That motion is going to look totally different than if it's AWS plus the ISV plus their system integrator partners.